Hi, this is Darshini in Spirit, and this is the 2021 intro to all the videos that are coming in, and that is going to be separated as usual with America, Canada, Asia, and South Pacific, obviously Australia, New Zealand, etc., and the other countries. I am not going to be able to cover every country, so I apologize. But it is a huge, massive job to do this. The other thing is I have put out a separate video on COVID, but that's just for America, which I will be updating as of about 36 hours ago. Actually, numbers changed. And people who don't realize and never had a reading with me or have interacted with me or taken classes don't realize that I actually draw information from the energy. I actually go into energy and dimensions, which I will address that in another, not exactly a future event, put it that way, probably in a book or a video. But basically, I read through pure energy, and that's why my readings and classes, etc., my predictions are a bit different. So it's up to you what you do, you'd like to take away from this. But the only reason, and some people think it's for ego, and I assure you, I do not like being in front of the camera, and that is that I only do this because people are in absolute fear. We've lost over 4 million, nearly 1.5 million, which will be reaching that, unfortunately, soon enough in the world, and how many millions have actually been affected in the way of, I'm talking about COVID obviously, but from extended family, but they've got, and they're going to suffer from more, how can I say this, more issues, or issues as I say in England, but issues of health problems. And these are reoccurring. They 99% will not go away. They will remain with you. They're the children, and there is a warning, by the way. If you get time, please see the COVID, and I'm going to repeat it for the other countries. And that is in February, where I see the coronavirus, COVID-19 rather, actually mutating again. It has mutated several times. But this mutation has started to a certain degree, but the mutation is actually infecting, or affecting rather, children. And it's from, and I call children from 28 down. So unfortunately, that is going to be quite catastrophic, and it's really aggressive with children who have even minor issues, or not minor, but issues with bronchitis, their immune system's low, things like that. So I am warning everybody, by February, this will actually be rearing its head. It's already actually mutating, has mutated, and it is going to start really getting aggressive round about near mid-December. But you'll see the real effects of it by February, I'm afraid, where the numbers are being shown. And this is all over the world, okay? So take care of your children. Even though they don't like it, you're going to have to be the strong guide. And even though I don't have children per se, I do advocate that I believe in tough love. That's how I was raised, and a lot of my generation was raised, but the tough love is literally to protect them, okay? I will do a separate video, not too sure when, because this one is going to, next few days are going to be massive with filming the predictions, but basically I'm going to try and do a video regarding foods. Now again, I am not an expert, I am not a professional, I haven't got certification, but I just want to make that disclosure. It is what you take away, and it's your instincts to either believe it or not, or whatever. Do your checking yourself, your fact checking. I'm here to hold your hand and be there for you, but not to tell you what's right and wrong, okay? We all lead our own lives. But basically, regarding the COVID, I am going to be putting out a video and giving you suggestions of, like, for instance, tomatoes. Tomatoes are great for helping your immune system. So there's certain foods that you could eat, and there's even a recipe I created a long time ago. It takes 20 minutes, and it's with lentils, which is a high form of protein, but it's red lentils. And I might even do a little cooking show on that one. But it's for those people who don't want to eat or can't eat or just don't have time, but they do need that nourishment, okay? And I'll cover that one in another video. So basically, this is just to say hi, okay? And let you know that I'm doing these videos again. Not too sure I'll do it next year, we'll see. But the COVID, basically, with some other situations, I'm afraid we're going to get a lot of fires in America and around the world. There are certain places where we will, typhoons and hurricanes, which I've covered, and I am going to do an additional one to the American hurricanes, because I did forget to do the West Coast. So we're going to be hit with a few F5s, and actually 3 F5s, it could be 4, but there is one that's an sorry, not F, I apologize, I keep doing that. It's category 5, but it's actually a category 4 that really tips into an area of 5. But that is what I'm concerned about. It's going to be very active in the Gulf, and that's in America, and South America obviously affects it. So I will put that additional video to support the one that I've done prior to this. Around the world, we're going to see far more drastic weather changes. So please be warned, please be prepared, which is what the only reason why I'm doing these is for you to not be in fear, but literally take some information, and if I'm wrong, which I honestly, sincerely hope I am wrong with every one of these predictions, because, you know, I realize they're quite devastating, some of them, but I hope I'm wrong, and I don't really care about right or wrong, if I'm right or wrong. It's more that I do worry that people get into the fear. So I believe that information actually not deflects fear, but handles fear a bit better. And there are a few classes, like Face Your Fears, I've taught, and it's really about realizing what dangers there are out there, but be prepared, and then your mind won't be going into sheer panic when something happens. At least you're being proactive. Not everybody will be affected by that kind of disaster, but we are going to see a considerable gain, different year with it. So I wish you luck. I wish your family huge amount of blessings and love. Remember, there are, maybe people don't like me for this, but I really do believe that there is a positive with this, not infection, but with what's going on, all the devastation, and that is to see who your real friends are, your family, and to love them, and to find out what the real values of life are, and not this surface things that we've been chasing. Not everybody, I realize that, and I certainly, don't do that, but we're all guilty in one way or the other on certain things. But we are realizing how life is so precious, and especially to those people who have lost loved ones. And please know, this is not a conspiracy theory. COVID is real, and my hearts go out to all the healthcare workers, every single one of them. They are sacrificing their lives and their families, by the way, because of what they do. And those are the true heroes here, the firefighters, all of the workers, health workers, and everybody associated with not only the pandemic, but also other disasters in this world. So please go up, and that's what my husband and I do, is we do go up to them and say thank you. Police, and certain people who we know, we definitely appreciate, who are protecting and are there for us. So it's only a small little thing, but to them it's huge. Okay, and it'll make you feel good and realize to a different level how much you realize how much they are appreciated in your life, but not only that, they are appreciated too. Anyway, blessings, love, and take care. And I will be uploading at different times throughout the year. If I find there's a category, sorry, here we go. Category 5 or whatever the hurricane's doing, because it seems it's been pretty accurate on when I see it. I haven't put them out. It's been a crazy year, but I will try and do that for you guys, okay? Anyway, take care, blessings, and keep safe. Love to you all. Bye-bye. Hello, this is Darshini in Spirit, and we're covering snow in this video. We're filming on November 16th, 2020. So we're going to cover a bit of this year to the end. And the snow, I had said in my previous video last year, I believe that we're going to experience a what would you call an Indian summer. So it will be late in summer. As of today, actually, we're hitting in Nevada 75 degrees and a bit more in certain areas. So, and that's lower half the country. We are getting some snow, but I'm talking about blizzards, not general snow. So the first expected one that I do see is coming in around the 18th of November. Sorry, December. I apologize. December. So the 18th of December is it's considered a blizzard. It'll bring in anything from 8 to a foot and a half, maybe as much as that, and that'll be more or less a foot and a half to 2 feet up here. But it will blanket round about here. Here, and then what we're going to experience then on the 23rd, 22nd to the 24th-ish, and I don't believe there'll be light snow on the 25th, but obviously certain states are going to experience a white Christmas. But this blizzard is going to be a bit more aggressive, and it'll cover more or less the top half of America, and it'll come in that way. So we are going to experience snow up there, and that will be about nearly 2 feet to maybe 3.5 feet in these areas here. Then we're going into January, and I'm going to be very quick here. January 5th, we expect a smaller blizzard, and it really section off into this area. And I'm afraid always that does tend to get it, and we're here. And it's really, obviously, systems that are coming down from the north. Unfortunately, Canada, as usual, will get quite a few snowstorms. So there's nothing I could do at the moment for that. I will, regarding Canada, telling you about it. I have that covered in a separate video. So going onwards, the next major, and this is going to be a nasty one, January 25th. It'll last for 3 days, 2 to 3 days, maybe even 4. And that is pretty aggressive, and it's dumping about 4 feet. In one area around about here, it's dumping about 5 to 6 feet. Okay, so it's going to be nasty. New York is going to get it, but not as badly. It's as if it's coming in from this area here. Okay, it's a system coming in from northwest. All right, just scanning, and February 16th, you may think there's going to be a really hard blizzard coming in on February 2nd, but quite frankly, it's a mild snow to compare to the next one coming in. So February, let's see, I'm just scanning, I apologize, 15th to the 18th is going to be another storm system. That is very aggressive. I see even hail, and it covers, it's a system that literally, Colorado, all of this is going to get hit, even as far as even areas in Texas. This is a system that just wipes over the whole of this state. Doesn't go as far. There's cold weather coming into Florida, and you know, in the mountains in Nevada and Oregon and Utah, everything. But it really is like this, that it gets hit with snow, and that way. So just be warned, that is a very aggressive system. It lasts even as much as 5 days. I'm seeing hail, wet snow, a lot of danger. We're looking at record cold, of course, coming in, which I might as well bring in. We are going to hit and break, as I have said in the last, I don't know how many years, we are hitting and breaking records in cold and in heat. In 2021, we're going into extremes that we've never experienced before, at least not in spotty times in the centuries before, but this is something that's far more, I wouldn't say stable, but it's more consistent with the breaking of records, and the lower temperatures are maintaining, as with last year, but these are longer. And I just want to warn everybody, please take precautions and have extra food, especially in the northern states here. Have extra food on hand. Look out for neighbors, please, and elderly who are infirmed, who vets who can't get to things. Just care about everybody else as well as your family. All right? Okay, so we've gone through February, and that's more or less the hardest system. But there's another one coming in. It's going to be a long winter, as I said. There's one coming in roundabout. It may come in at the end of February, the day before the last day of February, but it'll go into the 3rd of March. Now that one is kind of, it's excuse me, too much talking. It sounds weird, but it's like a zigzag, where it's like a W and it zigzags, but that's where I'm talking about the extremes coming in like that, in here and coming down and then going back up like that. So it's Nebraska, really Kansas, that kind of misses it, but Colorado is getting hit. All of these states, not so much Portland, but in the mountains in Oregon, but Vancouver onwards. So like that, it's going to get hit. So be warned about that one. But the extreme snow that I'm seeing are drifts of 4 to 5 feet, and that's in this kind of curvature here. And needless to say, Canada actually gets more. So it's more or less dumping it, but it's really waning out when it comes to move south off from Canada. Okay, March 13th through the 16th, 2-3 days, you'll see a system, and this one, it sounds weird, but it does look as if there are tornadoes coming in, which it's covered in another video, but it's so electric, the storm, that there are, looks like tornadoes coming in, and that's coming in from here down here. It's a system that's coming in from this side out off the coast and then starting with rain, but it gets heavier and colder. It's as if it picks up from weather systems from Canada, or at least, the north, and then that gets into wet snow and moves across more or less to here. Doesn't quite reach the east coast, but it wanes after that, but it does cover a swath of the United States. April, I'm just going into April. April 16th, there's one that's coming in, but it's a lot of really rain, which means flooding, which is another video, but anyway, it's coming in this way, and it really hits, how can I say this? It really hits that way, okay? And it's coming in from there, but it hits horizontally. And that is bringing in snow in the upper regions, but rain down here. So there's flooding and melting snows on in the mountains, okay? We are looking at snow right through June 30th, and not in obviously lower states, but we are going to experience snow right through June 30th. Even as much as July 5th, you'll see snow activity in the higher regions. So that's going to be quite a long winter, but we'll talk about the heat and everything else in another video. Hope that helps, and I'm making it short and sweet this year. See you on the next video if you're going to continue. Bye. So flooding, just quickly again, all of these are going to be quick and short and dirty, because I don't think people are really interested in these. I might be stopping it, to be honest. This may be the last year. So flooding, I am seeing a lot of the rainstorms coming in and the flooded areas. I'm still seeing Texas, I'm afraid. There's in, and this is due more or less to be honest, with the activity of snow melts, and I'm seeing that the Mississippi is going to run over because the snow level is going to be pretty high. Obviously, I covered that in the snow. So that one's going to break its banks. There are several local rivers that are going in and breaking their banks. Sorry, I am so sorry. I keep on reiterating this. I hope I am wrong, and I don't care if I am wrong. But I'm just telling you what I see. So the Mississippi and a lot of the other tributaries are near to overflooding stage. So be careful and have sandbags ready for your property. Make sure the insurance is paid up, obviously. Take pictures of inside your house of your things. This is all part of that video I put up last year to take care of things before they happen. And that was really to do with COVID. But this pertains to any emergency situation. So the rain that I'm talking about here is in all of the it's really in this midsection. We are seeing some flooding in Seattle, in Portland, in lower areas of Oregon, but really it's they're going to see a lot of deluge here, by the way, because these are a lot of rainstorms coming in that are weather systems that are coming and hitting there. There's flooding in LA. Across here, there's to do with another flooding system. There's a hurricane, which I did forget to say, that there are hurricanes coming in from the west coast here, and are going to be hitting about 3 probable ones in Honolulu through Hawaiian Islands there. And it's mostly coming in from here, and there's one coming in from there that I see one anyway. It's like a system, probably a tropical, but it's coming really from here. And then quite a few coming in from the lower coast here from south and hitting, not direct hit, but close enough that the weather systems are going to be hitting LA, San Diego, and the Baja Harbor, California. I know I got sidetracked as usual, but that is to do with flooding too. I'm seeing New Mexico get flooding, Tucson, Phoenix, and a few other areas in there. Colorado, there's heavy system there coming in. Atlanta, really Texas, San Antonio, a lot of this area, but that's to do with a hurricane hitting that area. That's going to hit that area, which I will reiterate, it's to do with, I will get online and try and tell you where it's going to actually hit nearer the time, okay? Since you can't really predict it until 2 or 3 days before, I'm going to try and give you a bit more lead time than that. They seem to be going a bit erratic. Miami, Naples. Anyway, this coast here, that's to do with the tropical storm. These areas, the beaches, I'm seeing that there's, in the winter, around about March, April, I'm seeing flooding, but in June, July, I'm around about New York in there, there's flooding there. In lower areas in New Jersey too. So I don't know what's going on there. That's really a storm system. So you're going to see a lot more rain systems, but really to do with this way. So it's like that. And these are the more or less banded rain storms that are coming in. This area is going to see less rain, unfortunately. So don't expect that. Las Vegas may get some of the storms, flash flooding, but it won't. We've gone through about 215 days in Las Vegas without rain, significant rain, where that's very unusual. So obviously something's changed. not for the good, obviously. So that's it for rain. Just quickly on the heat records, yes, we are going to see increasing and long summer. It's going to be a bit different, but it is going to shatter more heat records that we're getting, and it's not so much even this is the usual is here, but we're going to see it far more extreme where record heats are being heat records are being shattered round about here too. Chicago is going to be hell hot. Good luck with that. New York and everything else. So it's really far more heat. It's getting hotter and every state is nearly every state is being affected, by the way. Even Oregon traditionally and all the Southern Californias, all of that is going to be horribly hot as well. And see it more or less around about mid-June, starting to increase, but the records are going to be falling around about July to August, into even into September. There are certain records that are going to fall. So make sure your neighbors are okay. Do they have some kind of air conditioning, or at least during the day, in centers where they are able to get some kind of relief and air conditioning. Please look out for the elderly, okay? And that's it. Okay, fires. We have had areas which have hardly any rain. Traditionally, they did. So we are looking at dry brush again. Even though we've had rain, it doesn't mean to say that it's up to par. So we are going to have more fires, and I'm sorry to say this, and what I'm seeing is Washington and Yellowstone, and there's in the forests here, there's in Oregon, there's going to be a few more fires, I'm afraid, but they're not as bad. Sorry, I'm just trying to as they were, but they're going to be a few, not one, but quite a few. Same as in Washington, it seems to be prone to that. California, we are going to see even Carlsbad or round about that area, Escondido, fires in the brush, in the desert there. In certain places, Napa again, but in other areas of Northern California. So right through San Diego too, LA in the forest, so we are seeing that. Some in Nevada, but that's really in the barren areas, and that's because of lightning strikes, I see. All right. A bit in the forests near Reno, I see as well. Colorado, yes. And these are in different times, and they mostly start round about, I'm seeing in end of April, May, but it's really the more aggressive time where I'm seeing the fires, and some, I hate to say, are deliberately by pyromaniacs. So I am so sorry, but I hope they do catch them. They do catch nearly all of them. There's one, he started about 7 of them already and has managed to get away, but he will be caught next year. Okay, so we are seeing sporadic fires, and there's in Texas, Arkansas. I mean, these are not, but these are where it's really, I'm not seeing too much of a population. It's in the forests, okay? Florida, there's one. In Virginia, Blue Mountains, in there, Blue Ridge Mountains. But then a slight small one in New York. They are everywhere, I'm afraid. Small one in New Mexico, Colorado. So I am sorry. That's all of it, okay? Again, I'm just making it quick. Okay, now we're going to talk more of hurricanes for 2020, and we are going to be a bit more, I hate to say active. I believe I was. I covered a few, and I didn't get time, but I should have, I suppose, warned you that I always monitor it and know where it's going, and if it's going to increase to a 1 or a 2 or a 3, or worse of all, 4, 5. But unfortunately, I was right with those. I didn't upload it, but I'll try and do my best when I do see it forming and give you a heads up, and quickly rush off a quick video on that if people are interested, just to be prepared. So we are seeing whether people are in are denying it, but we're seeing a far more active world in hurricanes. And I'm only panning out only because there are going to be a lot from coming in from the east, which is obviously part the systems, weather systems from here, Europe, but mainly off the coast here in Africa, because of the warm waters over the Atlantic. So I haven't checked. I didn't have time, and I don't know if anybody's interested, but I'll try and do some homework. I've just been incredibly busy. So on hurricanes, what I'm going to do is to give you an overview of what I see and when it's coming in. We are going to see another active system. Unfortunately, we're actually in, as of November 16th, we are in Iota, which is hitting a category 4. It might touch on category 5 before it hits those islands, lower islands, but then it goes down. It will be devastating, so sadly. I do see one more storm before the end of the year. In about a week and a half it develops, and it's coming in, but it goes across. It's not going to, it'll be a tropical storm, and actually it'll come in from here right through, and kind of does a dip and like that, and goes through here. The channel gets a bit warm, but quite frankly, it peters out just before Cuba. Tropical storm may hit one, but I'll let you know if I see it developing into one, but I don't think so. So that's one more storm, which is very unusual that it's being this late in the season, but unfortunately, I'll try and put it on another video, and that is because we are seeing a shift of seasons, whether we like it or not. Global warming, there is such a thing. It's not just something written down and invented. That is the reality. I know there are a lot of people out there who are denying the fact, but unfortunately we've had a hand in it over the centuries with what we've done as a human race. So anyway, these are the cumulative effects. So back into hurricanes, and I'm seeing a lot in, not so much in January. You'll see a system come in, but these are more to flood, I'm afraid, and there's systems coming in here. But it really won't be anything that, it's more rain system. It's not a tropical storm or anything. But round about June is when we're going to see it, round about the 24th to really about most probably the 26th. And it'll come in from here, a tropical storm, and it may develop into a Cat 1. So, and that one will hit, it kind of goes there, it kind of crosses Puerto Rico, weakens to a tropical storm, and then but gains again, and into a Cat 1, and then hits South Carolina or North Carolina up here, okay? And it runs through. We experienced, I believe, 30 storms, quite a few, I think 3 3 4s, F4s, and 3 4s, F4s, 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 3 4s, F4s And that was really basically here, and we did see a lot there in the Gulf, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm just going to cover a few of them. The others I've decided, since there are so many coming, I will get on and give you a heads up as to where I see it projected as soon as it starts kind of traveling across the ocean, and before it hits the Caribbean Sea or Caribbean, wherever you're from, and into this section here. So we'll see. I'll get online and then look for a video on that one, okay? Or remind me, send me a message, and I'll try and do my best. So we are seeing one at around about July 26th, and this one is more aggressive. It travels pretty fast across, and then gets kind of looped around and then goes through, and it looks as if it's going to hit past Miami, into Miami, and then goes in here. Now, the other probability is that it could, if there is this cold weather system that's coming in, it could kind of push it down, and then it loops around and then hits here. And that is in July. And that one, if it goes in here, it'll collect momentum. It starts getting slow. It's fast here, starts slowing down, but then it really slows and then starts building to an F2. And it hits around here, which is into, not New Orleans, but the lower half of not Panama, more or less into, it's got a wide swath here, so it's Pensacola, and that's where it's going to really hit more, like into this, from New Orleans right through here, but it hits here, and then goes right in through to Alabama with a tropical storm system. That's July. Now there should be about, there will be, that I see, about 5 storms coming in. So it's like a cluster, but they're all disconnected. They're not connected. August is going to be pretty heavy, I'm afraid. I'm seeing about as many as 12 possible storms coming in, tropical storms coming across. There's one very aggressive one that I see around about August 27th that's coming in from France, and it not France, but I mean from Europe, and it kind of collects from here, starts here, and then moves right here, right through into all of this, and then kind of loops low. And I'm just gonna go move this bit. Come on. So it'll loop around here and around here, and it looks as if it may go around here, and it probably will, just kind of looping around, cross the Dominican into Cuba, and then it looks as if it's going to hit the Florida coast and hit this side, not into the Gulf, but hit this side. And that has the potential of going into a F3 or an F4, I'm afraid. And that will be quite a large system, big, huge system, and it'll cover and it'll go through, and it even may have the potential of an F3 by that time. If it doesn't make contact here, it'll go into Georgia and South Carolina into an F4. I hope I'm wrong. And then there'll be quite a few again there. There could be, it's going to be pretty awful in the way of constant storms that are being hit on the East Coast. But there could be as much as 8. I hope I'm wrong. 4 of them will become near hurricanes, into low level, not to high level. And if it does change when I'm near at that time, because it suddenly flips for some reason, excuse me, I'll let you know. Okay, but again, remind me if I can't get to it. I'll do my best, even if it's only about a 2-minute video, warn you. So September through October, end of October, and maybe 1 in November. So you're going to see a lot more. I'm so sorry, I'm doing all the videos today and it's hurting my throat. unprofessional taking a drink, but it's only a juice. Anyway, so it is going to be pretty tough for the people who live on the coast. So I would just please be careful. Be prepared with all your supplies, as I said, in the tornadoes. And it will go, the last one being about 11/16, November 16th, that there will be a small tropical storm. It won't be as aggressive as this year, so late, but it will be there and present. That it's showing that world leaders that the earth is changing and reacting to what we've done. Okay, so that is hurricanes. Hello, this is Darshini in Spirit, and we're doing an additional, or at least an addendum to the hurricanes. So the hurricanes that are coming in are literally, that I forgot to do, was also from the West Coast. So here we are in Honolulu, Hawaii rather, and we're going to see about 7, possibly 8 coming in that are developing. About 3 of them are going to actually, one is going through in a loop like that, through, let me expand that, sorry. Going to go into a loop like this, going through and very close to Honolulu, but unfortunately the other islands get hit like that. But that is like a Cat 1 to 2. Sorry, I apologize. Okay, Cat 1 to 2, and that goes through that. Then you've got another one that looks pretty fierce, and it's coming in very strong. And they're kind of predicting it could be a Cat 3, Cat 4. Even talk about Cat 5, but quite frankly, I don't see it. And that one is coming in and literally looping, and it just kind of peters out. Something happens and it peters out and it meanders off. But there is subsequent wind and storm damage to the west coast of all the islands here. The other ones are circulating really from here, going through the Baja coast here, California, and Mexico, obviously. And that one is going through. There's about 4 or 5 going through this way as well, but they're not really touching anything. There is one that's kind of causing a bit of damage it's out here, but it's got a lot of wind and it's affecting this San Diego, Baja, California, that coast there, a lot of rain and a bit of flooding, flash flooding there. Okay, so just quickly, and this is a short addendum, but to warn you that I did say that I will try and upload predictions when I hear that there is a storm system coming. There are going to be so many. But just to be warning you, there's a lot, and I'm seeing a huge amount of activity here. I mean, going into the Gulf Coast, where it's coming in this way, a large amount are coming in from here, but from Africa, from this section here, a few really developing this way and then coming in that way. But really it's mostly from here because it's coming into the Caribbean Sea, Caribbean or whatever you want to call it, here, and it's a lot of activity here. So this is going to be largely have a large amount of activity again. So I am seeing at least a Cat 4 hitting the coast and a Cat, there are 3 Cat 5s that I see. Sorry, you touched that and it goes. But anyway, Cat 5s. So, and I will get on and a few, as soon as I hear about it, I'll try and upload a video. But Houston be affected, New Orleans, there's a lot going here where it's actually driving in here, and it is to do with climate change. It is not a conspiracy theory. That is a real fact that we are ruining the planet. So basically I'm going to leave it at that for the addendum and check in or join the subscribe to the channel, and you'll see the automatic updates as soon as I put them up. All right, thanks for joining me. Bye. In this video we're going to cover tornadoes, and in 2020 so far, as of November 16 today, there have been one of the lowest number of tornadoes reported. Apparently, I believe it was 873, April and March, and actually April being the highest concentration. So we are experiencing a change, but it doesn't mean to say it is just going to wane. That's not what I see anyway. So I'm just going to give you again the peaks. There are going to be other isolated tornadoes in areas that you hardly ever see, and that is really here in round about the New York area here, and even in California, but that's associated with it's like a hurricane, but anyway, it's a storm system that's coming in, but it's not going to be a bad one, but weird ones coming in Nevada, but they're like dust devils, but on steroids. That's all I can say. And those are coming in certain areas here where they're let's swear it was an EF1 or something, but or nearing that, but it isn't. It's just quite destructive in its own way, but not anything on a higher base than that. So we're going to see a few more just isolated ones in December, which is surprising, I know, but we are going to experience a few, and that's in this neck of the woods here. Then we're going into January. At the end of January, I'm seeing a cluster that's coming in. It's a storm system that's really tied to a snow system, which I talked about before, but that is coming in like that, and it's kind of a cone, and that brings in lows of EF1s and EF3s. So, sorry, I apologize, EF1 to maybe touching on EF2, okay? But that's really a concentration here where it kind of builds up steam. So coming into at the end of February, there are going to be associated with certain rain systems coming in, but in April, and it's really March 27th through the 30th, there's a danger of a kind of a warm weather for some reason coming in, and it's affected, and again, it's in this area here, but a bit more north. And that's going to spurn about maybe as much as 18 to 25, maybe 27 tornadoes, which are considerably low level, but they're still considered tornadoes. So we're looking at zeros to EF1. Maybe there'll be a possibility of 2 in EF2, okay? April is going to be relatively mild during the first 18 days, and then after that, around about the 19th to the 22nd, you'll see a system that's going to have a kind of, again, it's like a cone like this, and sweep in, and then really come in this way. And that one carries a possibility of EF0s right through to EF3, touching a potential roundabout here to EF4, but it's touching, but it looks as if it's pretty destructive, I'm afraid, and that is quite something else. April, so March, April, I'm just going through the months. June, at the end of June to August, there is a potential of all kinds of tornadoes that come from nowhere. Even the warm weather comes in, or there's a clash or something, but there is a block here, and it is moving towards right, which I've talked about a lot, that the systems are far more aggressive around here now, not left, but it's moving towards the East Coast. The corridor, that is, tornado corridor. But it is, you'll find in coming in this way, and you'll see even in Chicago a possibility of a tornado or two, but really that time is relatively ripe for a lot of conflicts with storm systems producing EF0s through to EF2s quite easily, I'm afraid. But also, and they're coming in every 2 or 3 days. It's a rest, and then for about 4 to 5, nearly a week, and then it starts again. So it's as if it's a constant swirl of activity during those months. And as I say in all my videos, I hope I'm really wrong. And I don't care if I'm wrong, because this is, you know, obviously devastating news if it comes true. So August, and then by August 27th, there's one system. And this one is actually going to come in more or less like this in a cone shape. And it's not so much here, but it's coming into Texas and touching in Texas. And maybe you'll see Dallas take a few tornado, maybe an EF0 or 1 into there, but it's like this. And this is quite active. Around that time, August 27th. Then we go to September 6th is one, and that one is more lateral and heading towards like I am seeing an EF4. It could be a 5. I hope God not. But anyway, I'm seeing it just be very destructive, gaining momentum, and it goes and hits. And I hope I'm wrong with that. There are other little systems coming in which do spurn activity in minor systems throughout the year, but it's really, those are the main ones. There are some coming in October, so it's a bit more active. We're going to see about 1,200, not 873 as we did, about 1,200 to maybe as much as 1,400, but those are minor ones, but still a tornado is a tornado. So as I always advocate, please have supplies. If you're in towards a corridor, or I've talked about something like this, we're not only looking at tornadoes, but hurricanes are getting more aggressive. And I have to check about the accuracy of that, how many I got right, if any. And also earthquakes and flooding, fires. So just be prepared. That means it's one less thing to do. And I did talk about that on a video I did last year, just while the coronavirus was on. Unfortunately, I was right with dates on that one. All the peaks, and I've covered that in a separate video, which should actually precede this one. Anyway, back to here. So this is the down low on the tornadoes. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Earthquakes. 2021, and we have actually had less earthquakes, which is a good thing. And I don't see it's going to be that. We'll still have earthquakes. We just had a 5.5 here in Nevada, but they're going to be occurring more in the strange places like Nevada, and even outside Washington, New York, in certain areas, Oklahoma, in that area really, and where it's considered fracking, but there are going to be larger ones there. Along this coast, yes, I'm seeing a 6.1, but off the coast, round about here, but also around here. That's like a 5.9 or something like that. So, and here is a total different story. Mexico is going to see far more stronger earthquakes, a bit more frequent like Chile, but that's in another video. But for California, they're going to experience far more earthquakes not only the Salton Sea, but not the big one. You don't need to worry about, at least I don't see it in there, but there are other new, how can I say this, new areas where they've never seen earthquakes before, and so there are different faults that are developing or have developed, and they're showing their hand, put it that way, or their shake, and they're going to see far more in this way. Up near Bishop, all of that area is still active, and San Diego in there. You'll get a few minor ones in across Los Angeles and Anaheim because of that Long Beach. That area is not exactly getting active, but just minor and smaller ones. Nothing really on a large scale or horrific scale, but again in that drop H, which I always talk about in my previous videos. Surprisingly, you might even see a 3.2 or something in Florida. Okay, and that's it for now on earthquakes. Terrorism, and this is more or less like mass killings and terrorism. Because of due to COVID, activities being pretty low, which is good things, so that there are some positives, but I'm afraid there are going to be far more terrorist acts where also riots are going to start happening more or less after February that I see protests, but it's really nothing. It's already been done. The race is over, whether somebody believes it or not. Some people don't, but that's up to them. I'm not here to judge, but there are going to be race riots, shootings, I'm afraid, sporadic, where there's heated arguments, and innocent people are going to be hurt. And this is when fanaticism takes over from logical and common sense, I'm afraid. So we are going to see acts. Those are acts of terrorism. I don't believe I can call it any other word. If you're going to attack another human being for their own belief system. So I'm seeing that on a local, domestic terrorism, and that's happening more in the southern states and in these areas here. Some in New York, in that area, if you're in Virginia. But the actual terrorist acts where they're against ethnic groups, that's more in Texas, I'm afraid, still more. I see 3 happening. And then one at a church again, some in New York, even in Kansas, and Colorado, there's one. California, there's about 5 to 7 attacks. And this is later in the year when things are freeing up and people are moving around, so please be warned about that. Seattle and Portland, there are some attacks there, I'm afraid. So Las Vegas, there's 2. And that's more or less like stabbings, more than that. And that's terrorism, not talking just the usual violence that happens throughout the states, unfortunately. So that's terrorism in a nutshell. Lightning. Now, I did put that last year that lightning seems to have changed and it's got more intense and it's a different type of lightning. But apparently something's gone wrong, is kind of correct on that, only because what we have been experiencing, as an example to that, in Oklahoma in September, there were 30,000 lightning strikes within an 8-mile area, and that was cloud to cloud as well, inclusive. But lightning has changed around the world, where it's getting far more intense. It is probably associated, and obviously it is, quite frankly, associated with the change of climate, the warmer climate, heat increasing, as I said. And in the heat video, I did forget to tell that we are going to experience a high temperature and death valley of about 132, not 130, but 132 to even 130, probably up to 136. We are experiencing records breaking there, but for lightning, we are going to see far more of it with, and that's why tornadoes too in that activity. But for the rainfall, which I'll cover in another one, in America, the lightning is going to be followed with, in some certain areas, with large hail. And these are golf-sized, if not larger-sized, hailstones, even as big as sometimes a tennis ball. And in Florida, throughout this midsection here, you're going to experience a lot of the lightning. Okay, so just be warned about that one. Take precautions. If you're in water, get out of the pool. I can't believe people still stay in the water in the beach or in the pool. Yes, I've seen it, unfortunately, with children. Parents are clueless sometimes. Not all, obviously, but some are. Just take precautions, please. Thank you. Okay, this one is to do with haboobs, or dust storms. But there is going to be one, probable two, but really one mostly, in going through, touching Phoenix, but not going through Phoenix. So it's going to be in the outer areas. There's a really nasty one there, a bitter one in Las Vegas, and that's in August. And this one in Phoenix is going to be pretty bad. Tucson, there's one, it's kind of a huge dust storm that hits there, and it's, you could call it a haboob, but it's pretty bad. So put your cars inside if you don't want it sandblasted. That's the only one on haboobs or really severe dust storms. There are some minor dust storms that's going through the Dust Bowl there, and they look like dust storms, but you know, dust devils and stuff like that. You get a lot in Nevada, and they're going to increase in intensity, but not until about after July, really August, you'll see that intensity.